Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Stories That Inspire Us. I am your host, Janice, and I'm hotter than Hades, so I just got to take this sweatshirt off. Sorry, guys, I just got to do this. Anyways, I'm in that respectable age bracket.
You should work with me.
You're absolutely correct. We have an amazing guest on today, and before I introduce her, I just wanted to share some really amazing things about this young woman. She's a single mom in the over 40 age category. She's got me a little beat, just saying. I'm in the 60, trying to be funny here, but she's a personal trainer, a functional diagnostic nutrition, and a DJ on the side. But there's more to her story, which we're going to get into. But without further ado, I want to welcome Samantha onto the Stories podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. You know, this morning I was chatting about, excuse me, passion and purpose and backdrops of stories. Your story comes from so many diverse backgrounds. You've not only battled so many things in your life, it's life drama to the fourth or fifth degree, in my opinion. Can you give us a little background about your backdrop story?
Like as a child or just like
like where you are as an adult. Like you are here with CFIT, and by the way, I forgot to say she is the owner and director of CFIT, SEEFIT. So you have your business going on, but there's back here, and I want to chat about back here.
So the back here, where it all kind of came into fruition a little bit. Well, I had a fairly good childhood growing up. I had a strong mentality to live life at the fullest, meaning do anything and everything that's going to destroy my life and not go do stuff that's going to cause, that's going to be experiences that you can carry over that leave you with like the strong legacy. Like I climbed Everest and I did this. I did a lot of really amazing things as a child for sure, but eventually I got kind of sucked down the path of just being like partying was like what meant you like live a crazy life. So but I never lost sight that I could do anything. I think always in my mind I have a strong ability to foresee a vision. So even in my darkest days when I got into drugs, obviously I got into drugs big time, and alcohol, and not so much alcohol at that point, but drugs. I was still able to know, like, I'm gonna be the best at this, or I'm gonna get this job, or I'm gonna do this. And I was always very successful at whatever I did. So I didn't have a lot of things telling me, oh, you're failing, because there's so many other areas in my life I was failing. And I wouldn't say failing, I just was not my best self because I learned a lot from it. And then I kind of went down that path for a while. Then I would be like the super athlete and be the number one rower, and then I would then fall apart again, and then pick myself. I push myself to these limits that are unimaginable, and most people would just sort of I don't know. And then I would like recover on my own. I would decide, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I might be ranting here. So anyway, okay. So then I ended up, I got into drugs and alcohol. I still was like a super hardcore athlete growing up, very successful in that area. And then I moved to, basically I graduated from University of Michigan with honors, did really well. I moved to LA, and a job that I was pursuing basically fell through. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to be one of the top female DJs in LA. I just decided that I could like see myself DJing in front of like thousands of people. Like I just knew, like I got this, like no question. It wasn't even like, I guess some people have that self-doubt, like I can't. And I don't have a lot of that. I mean, as I get older, I think I do more so. More just because I don't know if I have the energy for something, or the time. So that's the factor these days. So I became a DJ and was very, very successful. But, through all that, I was selling drugs and still, partying, and I was very successful at selling drugs, until I got, well, yes and no. But, I am a very entrepreneurial, very, business minded, very organized with money type of person. So that's kind of my saving grace. I'm very organized. And so everything is like a hustle in my life. And so that's sort of what I went through. But you look like you want to say, you can ask questions.
Yeah, I do. Because first
Go.
of all, I want to thank you for your raw authenticity, because I think it's really important for people to understand you were at two different extremes. You faltered, you fell, and you fell hard, but you kept on getting back up. What do you think in those times that got you back up? What do you think, in your opinion, was that motivating factor?
Oof. I'm a really stubborn. I think I have a pretty good moral compass at the end of the day, and I know what I should and shouldn't be doing. And I know when I got sober and decided to check myself into rehab, I knew I was kind of like, I knew that in my mind, I kept saying, well, eventually I'll be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And hopefully I won't be dead, and then I just kind of hit my limit. And that's where I knew I had to change something. And so I would do the next thing that I was going to change. So I just think I have a very strong will. I think that there's certain people that can handle extreme amounts of chaos and grief and turmoil in their life. And that's sort of, as bad as it sounds, it's like, that's comfortable to me. That's my normal in my world. It's not what I want today, but it's where I thrive. So I think that people can thrive in like the most unhealthy situations, but that doesn't mean that's going to be healthy for you. I mean, obviously it's not healthy, but so I'm now learning to sort of thrive in like peace and like being like tranquil and calm. And it's so hard, but that's what I want. I want all of these things and success. And so to thrive in that is a lot harder than when shit's fucking about to hit the fan. I'm good.
Right. And a lot of shit hit the fan at different times that maybe you didn't anticipate, because I imagine going from one extreme to the other, as you described, really wreaked havoc on your internal emotions. Now, I want to ask a question, and I want to be very respectful and very, very intent with this question, because I think it's, again, really important for people to know that you can fall hard like a mother, but you can get back up. One of those really low times for you was when you ended up in prison. And I assume that it's because of the drugs. Am I correct in that assumption?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, I had a full, see, actually it's so funny because you say the hardest time. That's not my hardest time of falling. I think the hardest thing that I've ever been through was honestly when I went through my infertility treatment. At least when I went to prison, I mean, I didn't have control, but I had some control. Like it wasn't, I was so ready to let go of control. And I was sober. Honestly, when I went to prison, it was like sort of a life break that I needed. I deserved it. I needed to like reset. I was so happy to be sober. You probably could have put me in a cardboard box and I'd be like, okay. Because I just wasn't in that world that I was in before earlier. And because it was so bad when I was at the end of my whole drug dealing and drug career. So that's kind of where it was. I mean, I just sort of gave up. I mean, I got into the AA and I got into the program and I just sort of gave everything up to what I believe is my higher power, and just was able to see more spiritual things happening in my life, which I couldn't see when I was using drugs. And, my eyes were open and my head was clear. And so I was able to process things better. And I remember going into prison, and my mom and I would talk about it and be like, do you think like I'm gonna totally like shut down? Like, do you think I'm gonna be like emotionally like dead? Like, because it's like you go through a trauma like that and
Mhm.
people just like can't, you become like emotionally like scarred and you can't, like I'm a very emotional person. I can talk about things. Um, will it shut me down? And I going through it, I didn't think it had done anything like that. Now getting out, and like I remember when I got my dog for the first time is when I noticed it. And I my dog was my lifeline, and my parents
Mhm.
watched my dog when I was gone. And I felt like I had like, so I can't imagine having a kid going to prison. Like I know that I it was like I couldn't even connect with my dog anymore. And I was like, fuck. Like I was excited to see her, but I wasn't. Like I couldn't get that connection back, that like love for my
Mhm.
dog. And I felt the inability to love, like truly love things again. And I still feel like it's really hard. It was really hard until I got another new puppy. Even in my marriage, like I loved my husband, um, but like I always felt there wasn't like that connection that I used to get pre-prison with people. Until I got a puppy, and that's where I felt like, okay, oh my God, I can like I feel it. I felt it a little bit, and then as I work through things, I'm able to recognize it a lot more. But that ability to really connect emotionally to someone, and maybe it's like the fear I could lose someone at any time. I've been in a lot of like very unhealthy relationships on top of it, so it could have been that and not even prison. So
Do you think, Sam, that in order for you to, as you put it, connect emotionally, that you had to go through these really crappy ass times in order to be where you are today? Like, some people go through things and don't learn anything from it. You've been through hell and back, obviously a lot of it of your own doing, but you're here to tell a story, and you are where you are today, very successful in your business, very successful in finding your new normal. You gave up to a higher power. People can relate to that. What excites you about that? There must be something in your story that can you like pinpoint something and say, all right, that may have been normal at the time, but I am where I am today because of my story.
oh, I have no regrets. Like I'm going to prison probably saved my life. I mean, I got sober before that, but who knows? I could have easily like gone right down that path again. So I mean, it was a journey that I needed to take. I literally don't have many regrets in my life. And the ones I have are kind of random. Um, well, I bought a 15-inch pool. One of those 15, one of my biggest regrets is buying one of those big old 15-foot pools during COVID and trying to put it in my backyard. And it was like the biggest disaster of my life. That's a regret. Um, but I think I've learned so much, and I think that I always I can connect with people because of it. Like I've always had a good connection with people. That's always been something that just naturally came to me, and people were very open with me. I don't judge anyone. I would never. I think people feel safe because I'm so honest and authentic about my story. I I am happy to tell anyone anything if I know it's going to help them. Even my health journey. So I was really sick for a really long time, with a lot of health problems. And that's, when I get my clients, I've been through it all, and I can say I get it, I know how frustrating it is. And I know it, I just, when I meet with certain clients, I know what they're doing. I know that they're crying themselves to sleep. I know that they're sitting in a fucking closet crying because they don't know what to do and they're trying so hard and nothing's fucking working. And they're like, I've been there. So, and I just know maybe I have common sense. I don't know. Like I can just pick up that kind of stuff with people. So I think that, I'm really big on legacy at this point. Like I really try to make sure that like whatever I leave behind, like I think to myself, like if I died tomorrow, what would my funeral be like? You know, and I was sober for 13 years and I relapsed and started drinking, which was never really my thing, but it's, I mean, drugs and alcohol are the same thing. But you know, I fell off and it was really humiliating for me for a really long time to try to like navigate that and get back into the world that that I want and to be the sober person that I want to be. And it's been really, really hard. But again, like I'm learning from that and looking at, you know, oh, this is the legacy I want to create. I don't want to be, you know, that alcoholic mom for my kid. I know it's a disease. I know I can't sometimes help it. But you know, the more I can talk to people about it, and the more I'm open about it, you know, the more people it might help because we all are going through shit at the end of the day.
We sure are.
And when
you
you
bring
do right by people and you do the right thing, it all works out most of the time. Sometimes it doesn't, but you know, there's a reason. Like when I've like, I mean, I felt like there's moments where I'm really doing everything right and then something awful happened. I'm like, fuck you, I'm doing it. I'm like doing it. Like, why is this happening? You know? And but
Mhm.
then there's always, I'm like always like, okay, there's gonna be a lesson. Just gotta wait it out. And I'm impatient. So I'm learning patience because I gotta wait out to figure out whatever this lesson is. But so that's kind of it.
We all learn patience in many different forms and fashions throughout our lives. What do you think is one thing that you can look back on and say, okay, I know I struggled with patience, but I was able to go and get what I was after? Because you don't take no for an answer.
Yeah, I think with patience, my biggest thing was like I get very impatient if I don't for a while there, like if I didn't feel better with my health, like that would make me crazy. I wanted it to be better. And now I know when I have like a bump in the road with my health, I have to be patient. I wait it out. It always gets better. I'll figure it out. Um, and you know, my biggest test is my child. Honestly, I am not maternal. I mean, I think the fact that I know that I'm not maternal is making me a better mom because if I didn't recognize that I'm not maternal, then it would just be bad. Um, so I'm working extra hard to try to like make sure I'm kind of like doing it right, but it's hard. I'm well, I'm good at working, I'm good at running a business. If that's failing, I'm a fucking shitty mom. So for me, I know that working and helping others and doing what I do and like having a business, something like that is where I need to be the best person I can be um, for
Mhm.
him. But yeah, I don't have patience with my kid.
And how old
So,
is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
he's 5. I have to ask him
What,
to do everything 100 times. Like, and I'm like,
well, that's a male thing too. Yeah, I
and I'm sitting
understand.
there thinking, is this because he's 5? Is this because is something else going on? Like, you know, maybe I need to take all the red dye and gluten out of his diet. Maybe, you know, I want to find a solution, but he's just 5.
What do you think is your greatest asset?
Honesty, maybe. I don't know. I'm really honest. Um, I don't, yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I've learned to do it in a way that's not so harsh as maybe when I was in my 20s. But if you ask me something, like if you look fat in a dress, I'm going to tell you. You know, I'm not going to lie about it. But I'm really honest. I'm not going to bullshit you. Um, you know, as you said, like authenticity is, I mean, I have it tattooed on my hand, on my arm. So yeah, I think that's important. You know, and I think I'm reliable, pretty reliable.
Those are some awesome traits. Now, you had mentioned that you don't think that you're maternal, but I see so much maternal instinct in you by your raw and authentic nature, just saying. Because when you were talking about your child, your face lit up.
Oh, I do love that little guy, but ooh, he's like my brother. He can get under my skin better than anybody.
And that sometimes happens as they grow and go through those different stages in life. What do you think, let's say when your son gets to be in the 15 to 20-year-old range, do you think that you will have those really hard conversations with him?
Oh, so
Like share
like
your
telling you about,
story?
yeah, so that's funny you say that. Is like it was maybe a week or two ago. He said something and he goes, "Well, if I do that, I'm gonna go behind bars for a long time and never get out." And it was something like little, and I'm like, I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God, like what? Like it was like something like really bad. So it was like, and I get the context of the whole. I'm not gonna tell you the whole story, but the context of the whole thing, he acted out at school and it was really inappropriate. And basically, my ex said, if you do that, if I did this, I'd be behind bars forever. And I never, so he started like making these. I'm like, but he said my ex hasn't gone to prison. So in my mind, I'm like, you can't tell him this stuff because I'm gonna have to tell him at some point I've been in prison. Like, so he's gonna associate behind bars this incident and then me, and not understand he's gonna think I did like these horror, like I was a drug addict. What I did was wrong. I get it, but I didn't kill anyone. It wasn't violent crimes. I've never hurt anyone. Um, so I think that there's just going to be a time and place where it works out. And I'll just I'll tell him what happened. I'll tell him what mommy did. I'm in recovery now, so he'll know. And a lot of people I'm surrounded with around are in recovery. So he'll know about the rooms of AA. I hope, if I keep doing what I need to do, he'll know about the rooms of AA. He'll know about the program, he'll know about addiction, and I think I have to educate him about that and then go from there. Because I mean, obviously, I worry about him being an addict, you know.
Sure,
So
I can, yeah,
it's
that would be
it's in his genes, that's for
that
sure.
would definitely be a concern. When you get up in the morning, what is your routine like?
Oh God, you should ask my nighttime routine. It's way more interesting.
Okay, let's talk about your nighttime routine.
Okay, so my bed. So I'm like big on self care, but I don't have a lot of time. So my bed literally has a biomat, which kind of helps with detox and inflammation and stuff. So I sleep on that, and I usually leave it on for about 2 hours, and then I'll pull it off. And then I have an acupuncture blanket, which looks like literally having like these spiky daggers that I lay on for 20 minutes right when I get into bed. And then I'll wear a castor oil pack over my liver because that helps with detox and all that. So I put that on my liver, and then I have my weighted blanket, and I get into bed, and I don't really watch a lot of TV in bed. Um, I usually have a nighttime snack, and then I'll be out. And I
All
take about this many supplements.
right. This is my supplement right here, part of
Right.
it anyway. When you talk about snacks, and I want to talk about nutrition a little bit, because obviously you're a functional diagnostic nutritionist. For somebody in active recovery, what are some things, and obviously there's dietary restrictions, but what are your go-to things? Like, what do you keep on hand? What are some basic essentials?
I mean, I used to be very regimen with my food and all those things. But now, I'm trying to think, I always have the good oils to cook in. So there's always going to be coconut oil or um some sort of animal fat that's really clean to cook in. I mean, I have a deep freezer full of fish, like really clean fish, really clean meat. Things I always have. I mean, I always have my supplements. I feel like that's probably my priority. And then I do always have this gum made by Pure, and it's PUR. It's this company, and it's got 3 ingredients, kind of a gum addict. Um, I smoked cigarettes for most of my life. And what do I have? I mean, I don't have, I always have a bunch of vegetables. I always have vegetables and some sort of protein on hand. But it isn't like I always have like this, bag of nuts or that. I used to be really regimented on that because I just would be like, I'm just not. I rotate everything so much now. I'm kind of into this. I just did IG live with this company called Sweet Kick, and they have a really clean granola. So that's kind of what I have around a lot these days. But yeah, I used to have like acid-free coffee always around. I used to have a very specific creamer, always have this specific stevia. I don't know. So I guess that's a good thing.
Well, exactly. Now, what would you say is the number one thing, like, maybe it's a goal that's near, maybe it's far out. What is a big goal that you have for yourself?
I'm like, do you want my vision board? I mean, I'd love to move to San Diego. But for me, I want to start speaking to kids at like large groups about my story and telling my story about, drugs and addiction and, don't judge a book by its cover kind of thing. Like it can happen to anybody. Because I think a lot of people, my story isn't, there's a lot of people who've been to prison. It's been way more hardcore than me, for sure. But I think for me, the lesson for a lot of, a girl who doesn't look like the typical, I think they think that they can get away with anything and you can't. I don't know. I had so many opportunities to straighten my life. I mean, the first time I got in trouble, I was in 8th grade and I got arrested for smoking weed on a school field trip. I've overdosed. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, there's so many times I could have been arrested, could have been this. And if I had gotten that scare, like something bad happened during those, then maybe I wouldn't have ended up where I was, or had someone like me be like, listen, it's going to fucking happen to you if you keep this up. I didn't have anyone telling me that. I couldn't relate to if I heard about drug addicts, I mean, my idea of a drug addict was way not me. I didn't picture me. That's for sure. I imagined someone like, I mean, I don't know, like, have you ever watched Basketball Diaries with Leonardo DiCaprio, like a heroin addict, strung out, like homeless. So, that's what I pictured. But I am a drug addict. And I was never like that.
Thank you for your raw and vulnerable just outpouring of what you've been through. When you look in the mirror at night or in the morning, are you proud of yourself?
Lately, I think it ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
I think recently, I would say that 90% of the time I am. Even if I'm not happy with something I've done, I know that I'm doing what I need to do to try to fix it or work on myself. Or if I feel like I'm off that day, I will get a podcast that I know that I need to hear or something on a topic. I will call someone. I will talk to someone. I will, I won't just bottle it up and beat myself up over it. I'll do something about it. I'm very, very firm believer that you need to be very proactive in your life and not reactive. So it's like, yeah, it's like getting a client that talks about, oh, I want to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, I don't feel good, but they're not doing anything to do anything different. So I'm sorry, I don't fucking feel sorry for you. Do something different and then we can talk, and we'll do something about it. But if you're just gonna sit there and wallow and not make the changes you need to make, even the little changes, I know change is hard. I have empathy up the wazoo for all of it, in every area of health and addiction and parenting, but relationships. So I think you just need to be more proactive, not reactive.
I love what you said, be more proactive, not reactive. And that is so true. To anyone who may be listening or viewing this in video format, and there's somebody that is listening that hears your voice, hears your story, what you've been through, is going through a similar experience, taking the hard knocks, falling down, all a result of mostly their own actions What is one thing that you would love to say to them right now, in this moment, in this space?
That it always gets, I mean, always gets better. You have to, sometimes you have to go way down, 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 but I mean, it always gets better, and to wait it out, and just in my mind, it's like eventually it gets better. I know you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're sick of whatever's happening, but you're going through it for some sort of reason, and you just got to wait it out. It always gets better if you want it, I guess, if you wanted to, you know.
That is so true. And Samantha, actually, Sam, can you share with us how our viewers can connect with you?
Sure. I am at CFit Living on Instagram. I'm super active. So SEEFIT and then LINGID Living. So I try to spell it. LIVING. Oh my God, living. Yeah.
That's okay. I'll make sure all that gets
I'm like,
noted.
wow. And then cfitpt.com is my website, or Samantha Lander on Facebook, or Sam at cfitpt.com is my email. So, but Instagram
Wonderful.
is a really good way to connect through me.
Insta. Okay. And I obviously will make sure that all that information gets in the show notes. Sam, I want to thank you so much again for being my guest, my amazing guest today on Stories That Inspire Us. Your light and your shine, and you do have maternal instincts. I see it. I see it in your energy. So I just want to reaffirm that for you. You shared your heart, you shared your rawness, authenticity. What could be better than that, than a story that inspires others? Today, you inspired me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone, I want you to listen to this podcast, have an open mind, have that open dialogue with yourself. Your story may not mirror Samantha's exactly, but you may pick out some things that help you to create your connection emotionally with your world and getting better at whatever you want to do. Be proactive, not reactive. My name is Janice, the host of Stories That Inspire Us. And if you have a story that you know will inspire others, please go to my website and register as a guest. Thank you once again, Sam. I hope you definitely will consider coming back. Everyone, awesome. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.